The worst superhero movie of all time. That's what I think of when I think of Catwoman. This movie, before we get started on the actual film, let's talk about how it was originally a spin-off for Selena Kyle, Michelle Pfeiffer's character from Batman Returns. And believe it or not, Tim Burton was asked to direct the film, even though Warner Brothers did not want him to direct Batman Forever. They asked him to do the spin-off with Michelle Pfeiffer, and honestly, I am so upset that that never happened. That would have been cool. That would have been different, especially for the time. Nowadays, we get spin-offs left and right. It's not as special, but back then, that would have been something. Of course, it didn't happen though. When Batman Forever came out, it was regarded as a success because it was more family friendly, and Tim Burton's movie of Catwoman would not be family friendly. So it wound up in development hell, which some movies do for years and years. At one point, Ashley Judd was attached, even Nicole Kidman was attached. But in 2004, we get the Catwoman movie that we got. This is directed by Pitoff. Pitoff. However, this guy wants to pronounce his name. He has a one word name for some reason. He cast Holly Berry as not Selena Kyle. No, because why would we use Selena Kyle in a Catwoman movie, right? No, that doesn't make sense. Let's create a brand new character called Patience Phillips. And the funny thing about Patience is that she's goofy and she's clumsy and she's nervous all the time and she has no backbone, and there's really nothing interesting to her character that you can't already guess where her character is going to go. There's a scene very early on in the movie where she's in her apartment and the neighbors are listening to loud music, they're partying, they're having fun, and she's trying to tell them through the window to turn the music down. This is to show us that Patience has no backbone, that she is allowing herself to be walked on and be just taken advantage of because she's too nice. Then you see a random cat in the alley who I guess chooses Holly Berry, and later on the cat is at her window and she goes to try to save the cat, and the cat's going higher and higher. So she, the same woman who didn't have the guts to go and tell her neighbors to turn the music down, she somehow has the guts though to climb out the window and try to save this damn cat, stepping on the ACs and just nearly dying herself. Then we meet Benjamin Bratt, who plays Tom Lone, because that's a superhero name if I've ever heard one. Tom Lone. He's a cop who just happens to be driving by. He sees Holly Berry out at her window and thinks that she's suicidal, so he tries to save her. And then we get introduced to Sharon Stone. She's the wife of the owner of this beauty company, and she for years was the face of it, but because she's getting older, she was replaced by a younger model, and this infuriates her. It obviously is a big setup for her character later on. Holly Berry, who works at this same company, she was supposed to deliver a project, but something happened, so she has to go to the building. And when she goes there, she sees these people having a meeting. And they're having a meeting about this facial cream that the company is creating called Buell Line. What? Why are we calling something Buell Line? I don't know, but I guess they thought it was cool. The meeting is about the side effects that this cream has, that apparently if you take it and then stop taking it, it will destroy your face. It will make your face look zombified. And But they want to keep it a secret because that's possible. Whenever a company, a makeup company especially, has to create a new anything, I'm sure there's no federal investigation to see if this is safe. No, I guess not. They catch Holly Berry, they chase her, they shoot at her. It's like these thugs or these bodyguards. I don't exactly know who these guys are, what their relation is. They shoot at her out in the open in the hallways because they don't care if there's anyone else, a janitor maybe, who might overhear this. Holly Berry runs into the pipes system, and so they flood it. So she gets flooded outside and seemingly drowns, dies. And then she gets washed up onto this waste, and these cats surround her. Now, I know that Batman Returns has a similar scene to this where Michelle Pfeiffer gets pushed out a window and then cats come around and bite her. And we don't know for sure, but it does seem like they bring her back to life. I know that people think that's dumb. Hell, there's a part of me that agrees and that it is kind of dumb, but it's ambiguous. It is left up to your imagination. Maybe it's just the fact that she could have just woken up and it just looked weird that the cats were biting her. It's left up to your imagination what could be going on. Where this movie, no, this movie takes one of the dumbest things that people think about Batman Returns and they amplify it. They lean more towards it. Where the CGI cat, by the way, the cat looks terrible, the CGI looks terrible. It breathes life into Holly Berry, and like you literally see the life being breathed into her. She wakes up with enhanced senses. She's twitching around, and this is where Halle Berry's acting is very over the top. And I don't know if this was her choice or if the great Pitoff thought it was a good idea. You see when she goes to her apartment and climbs the buildings that she has super agility, super strength. Okay, they're treating this like it's the Peter Parker being bit by a spider thing. But the reason why this doesn't work is because you have Holly Berry change her personality, act like a cat, and develop cat like symptoms. And she kind of loses the character that she was. They tell us, in a sense, that the bumbling, nervous version of herself was not who she should be, is not the ideal person she should be, that she should be more brass, that she should stick up for herself, and she should yell at her boss, which actually gets her fired, so maybe that wasn't a good idea. There's a scene where she visits a crazy cat lady who tells her about how she was chosen and that there's a higher purpose to this. Holly Berry thinks it's all weird, so she leaves. But then the woman, to prove her point, puts catnip up to her face, and Holly Berry starts sniffing it and rubbing it, and it's very awkward. It's very weird. I think the movie thinks it's funny. Holly Berry's coworker or her best friend, whoever she is to her, Sally, they're walking down the street and she just passes out. She passes out because she was taking the facial cream, you see. That's our first sign that something is wrong about the facial cream. Speaking of Sally, she looked like a man. Tom is shown talking to kids in a classroom because we really have to throw it in your face that Tom is a good guy. We really have to show that he's the hero, that he's the good guy, the love interest. Patience shows up with a coffee cup that says sorry because she missed their date that he asked her out on. I guess this guy is so desperate for a date that he asked a girl who he thought was suicidal on a date. That's where we get the infamous basketball scene. Holy crap! What was this? I know they have this music, this pop music playing, but this basketball scene is so cringy, so awkward, so weird. It's almost like when people were complaining about the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, that scene where they're playing around in the playground and it's awkward. Yes, it's my least favorite scene of that movie, but this film took that idea and just did it worse. You have all the kids surrounding them at the court, and the way how the camera is shot, the editing, the close-ups, Holly Berry's facial expressions. It's so weird. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Holly Berry is then seen talking on the phone with Sally as she's eating cans of tuna fish. Because if you didn't get the point, she's acting like a cat. We get more loud music again. And this time, though, because Holly Berry is a different person and she's a cat, this gives her the courage to go to the person's door, knock on it. In fact, she kicks the door down. And look, I know they want to establish that Holly Berry is tougher now, that she's willing to do things that she wouldn't have done before. But first of all, how am I supposed to believe that nobody else in this apartment is bothered at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, this loud music being played? You're saying Holly Berry's the only person that has tried to tell them to stop? Nobody has called the cops? Nothing? Apparently this is an every week occurrence, but okay, fine. So she shows up, she bitches the guy out completely, the guy hosting the party. She pours beer onto his speakers, destroys it. I'm sure that wouldn't get her in trouble. And she uses all of these cat-like moves that, honestly, when Catwoman does appear later on, how do all of these people not immediately go, oh, I have a guess who that lady is? But they don't. Holly Berry, of course, now feels so good about herself that she cuts her own hair, and she's a better hairdresser than she was a art designer or whatever her job was. In fact, she cuts her hair better than Adam Sandler does, and you don't mess with the Zohan. Then she goes and robs jewelry. This is technically her first appearance as Catwoman, although her suit is not complete yet. She just has a little facial mask that it's still pretty obvious to tell who she was. The next day, she wakes up and, seemingly like Jim Carrey in The Mask, doesn't remember what she did, regrets what she might have done. She gives back most of the jewelry, which shows that maybe she's not the nice person the movie wants you to think. She still kept a ring and kept a necklace. She leaves an I'm sorry note with the bag of jewelry. And the crazy cat lady tells her of the history of these cats and how they're magical and how they're gods and how they somehow, some way chose her because they knew that she was nice, good-hearted, special, and that these cats have been doing this for decades and centuries for old warriors and old women over the years. They even show a photo of Selena Kyle, Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns, thus confirming that this is in the same universe. Why? Why ruin that movie by showing that picture? That's where we see the official Catwoman suit. The Catwoman suit that Holly Berry, I guess, thinks is appropriate. She looks like a stripper, to be honest. It's not flattering. She's wearing these open-toed high heels that aren't practical. How is she supposed to go out there and fight criminals or do whatever she's supposed to do? Even if all she does is rob jewelry stores, it still doesn't make sense. Her skin is exposed. She's just completely vulnerable to bullets or anything. Even getting punched would hurt more because she's not covered up more. The CGI moves that they have her do also on the rooftops look terrible. The pop music throughout this whole movie is terrible. It's just a shitty soundtrack. Whoever decided the soundtrack should not decide soundtracks. Catwoman goes to a bar because she doesn't really have anything better to do. She's not a superhero. She goes there to find the bodyguard or thug or whoever he was, the guy that flooded the pipes and tried to kill her. I guess they think that they killed her. She fights him in the alley. Another horribly edited and shot scene. She doesn't kill the guy though, because she finds out that it's somebody else at the head of it, which shouldn't she already have figured that out? That the random bodyguard wasn't the guy calling the shots. We see Tom. He compares the two sorry handwritings. He still, for some reason, days later, still has that coffee cup with the sorry writing on it. Is he just washing the cup out and reusing it every time? That's kind of weird and creepy. Then there's a carnival date scene between Tom and Holly Berry, where Holly Berry, reminiscence of Beverly Hills Cop 3, saves a kid who's about to fall from a ride, and she uses her super speed to save him. Of course, nobody else, though, sees it in broad daylight. Catwoman breaks into Sharon Stone's house because she wants the husband's location. She assumes the husband, the owner of the company, is behind everything, and Sharon Stone gives it to her. Catwoman goes to this opera-like show where the husband is in the audience, and out in the open, in front of everyone, just goes right after him. And yet, she's surprised that security and the cops show up. Wouldn't you have at least waited till he went to the bathroom or till you got him alone to confront the guy? No, not Catwoman, though. She has a struggle with Tom because Tom is everywhere, and the two of them almost have a fight, but then she flirts with him, and he claims he's taken, which I'm not even sure if they established that they're a couple yet. But of course, he doesn't realize that Catwoman is the same woman he's dating, looking at her face to face. I know, the same goes for Superman and Lois Lane, but it does not make it any less dumb. And because this movie is as bad as it is, it makes it stand out even more. In fact, Catwoman, who, to her, yeah, she knows that she's dating the guy, but to him, he doesn't know it's her. She still licks his face to make him feel guilty, I guess, because after that, Holly Berry and Tom have a dinner where he brings up the fact that she licked his face just to ask what she thinks about it. Why? Is he trying to make her jealous? Here's where you would think that, oh, maybe he knows that it's the same person because of the sorry handwriting that he had analyzed. But no, because he has sex with her. Yes, the great scene of Holly Berry and Tom Lone having sex. And then after that, when he's walking to the bathroom, he finds the diamond claws on the floor. And it's then, and only then, when he realizes that she is Catwoman. Wow, Tom, you're a horrible, horrible cop or detective or whatever the hell you are. Sharon Stone weirdly calls Holly Berry on the phone, but it's like a video chat, which makes you wonder, why would she call her via a video? How did these two even have each other's number? She asks her to meet in a super suspicious way. We see that Sharon Stone kills her husband, frames Catwoman though, in the great scene where the villain reveals their whole plot to the hero, because why not? She clearly thinks that she has her beat, I guess. And then Tom, now knowing the identity, arrests Holly Berry. She doesn't try to escape. She lets herself be handcuffed. I'll be honest, there's a decent crying scene that Holly Berry gives where she's visibly upset over the idea that Tom thinks she's a criminal or thinks she's a killer, even though she kind of is. But she still feels bad that he sees her in that light. And this is the one moment, the one time when Holly Berry gives a halfway decent performance. Because the rest of the movie, she's terrible. As she's sitting in the jail cell, the cat who follows her around gives her advice, and she squeezes through the bars. So I guess she can bend her bones and skin through bars and through tight areas. Because cats do that, I guess. We get another horrible close-up shot of a CGI Holly Berry jumping in the air, like she's jumping out of the window of the precinct, and she lands on the street. But the CGI motion of her body turning and contorting looks horrible. I don't know why they insisted on. Maybe you can get away with it nowadays, but back then CGI was so new, so young. Why would you waste it? Why would you make it look so obvious? Because today it looks like a video game, a PlayStation 1 video game. Holly Berry lands in front of somebody's car. He gets out to check on her, and then she just steals the guy's car. Here is somebody who was just crying over the idea that Tom could think she's a criminal and that she would do bad things. But then in the next scene, she steals somebody's car. Am I really supposed to feel bad for her? Maybe the movie's trying to say that she has a split personality and she can't control it. It's like Bruce Banner and the Hulk. It's not her fault. Anyways, Tom confronts Sharon Stone because he has some doubt and thinks that maybe Holly Berry is telling the truth. So when he confronts Sharon Stone, all he does is says, I might have some evidence that contradicts your story, and that maybe it wasn't Catwoman who killed your husband. And Sharon Stone just gives herself up and says, well, what do I have to do? What do you want for the tape and the pictures to go away? And he goes, aha! So you do admit it. That's what I wanted. But he has no plan. He's not even recording her. He doesn't have a SWAT of cops behind a door to bust in and arrest her. He went in cold by himself with no other plan. Sharon Stone literally just takes out a gun and shoots him. And she's about to kill him, and he's kind of begging, saying, you don't want to kill a cop. Like, Tom, this is your idea, your plan? You deserve to get shot. Catwoman saves him, though, because he needs to be saved, and he doesn't question how she might have gotten out of jail, because I'm sure he's just happy to see her. Catwoman has a horrible fight with Sharon Stone. What the hell was this? This fight is, again, throughout this whole movie, we've had horribly shot scenes, horribly shot fighting scenes, but this is the finale. This is your big bad fighting the hero. The quick cuts, the sloppy editing, the terrible dialogue. Oh, the dialogue is terrible. Sharon Stone just revealing more of her plot over and over again. Holly Berry revealing her identity to Sharon Stone because I guess Sharon Stone thought that Patience was dead, but Sharon Stone doesn't react. She doesn't care that Patience is not dead and that is Catwoman. Like, she gives no reaction to it. It's supposed to be a big reveal, but it means nothing. Sharon Stone also reveals that the cream, if you continue to take it, gives you superpowers. Because why not? How convenient. She has superpowers to fight our superhero. But if you stop taking the cream, your skin will melt and zombify. Of course! That makes so much sense. The fight, the horrible, horrible fight continues until Sharon Stone almost falls. Catwoman attempts to save her, and she says, give me your hand because we have to hit you over the head, see, that she's still a hero, that she would never kill her. She'll just rob jewelry and she'll just steal cars, but she won't kill. She draws the line there. Sharon Stone falls 100 feet to her death in a comical, long, drawn-out way. And then Tom offers to cover up the evidence of Holly Berry being Catwoman to let her go. Because Tom has lost all of his integrity and he's no longer a good cop. All of that goodwill that he had from talking to those kids in the classroom, he lost just now. We see that, I guess because Sharon Stone died, that makes Catwoman look innocent, even though everybody there saw that the body was cut up to look like Catwoman did it. But somehow, some way, Sharon Stone dying reveals that she was behind the cream and that she was being nefarious with the company and blah 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 blah. Of course none of this is explained. Of course none of this is well thought out. This script is terrible. Why would I expect any different? Remember Sally, the best friend that you never really cared about? She is seen with her new boyfriend who's feeding her fruit, and she just seems fine. She seems happy. What about the cream and the side effects? Is she still taking the cream? Does she have superpowers now? If there was a sequel, would Sally be the villain? Or has she stopped taking the cream and the side effects just, for whatever reason, doesn't affect her? Let's make sense of this. Then we get a lasting shot of Halle Berry as Catwoman, and she's giving her Spider-Man speech that she's not a hero, but not a villain, and that she's going to continue on her adventure. She apparently just broke it off with Tom, broke up with him. Why? I don't know. He just decided not to turn you in and arrest you for life. I know they tried to have that relationship be like Catwoman and Batman's relationship, but not nearly as interesting, not nearly as compelling. It just was flat on so many levels. This movie is flat on so many levels. I honestly am shocked and I can't believe that this film was made. This is the worst superhero movie of all time. But yet it exists, and it's there. It's there for people to watch. Halle Berry, I can only hate her for so much because she showed up at the Razzies and accepted the Worst Actress of the Year award, and she gave a speech and she fully embraced it. So I have to like her for that. I have to respect her for that. She's a pro. So guys, yeah, this movie sucks. It sucks balls. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Catwoman? Do you think it's terrible as well? What's the worst part of the movie for you? Do you wish that we got the Michelle Pfeiffer movie? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.